Lori, as you work with your own clients and you see more going toward custom strategies, what's one of the primary drivers of that direction?
Well, we work with very large plans, and what we find with these larger plans is that they tend to already have a lot of institutional core funds, separate accounts and collective trusts, and institutional share classes of mutual funds. And for them, when they look at the future and see the potential growth of the target date fund in their plan, I think the concern they have is that if they introduce a retail mutual fund as the target date fund, they could end up effectively seeing their plan be rebundled as a more retail-oriented plan, and when they've gone through all this trouble of getting to a very effective cost structure. Now this, this has implications, especially if they have a DB plan. They might also be very interested in seeing their DB managers be part of the target date fund. It's a greater opportunity set. It's something that they're comfortable with. And I think that their mindset is very much open architecture, and they really are focusing on both the funds that are available and also the cost.
So Ross, thanks so much for joining us. Why do plan sponsors like custom target date strategies so much?
You often hear plan sponsors refer to control of all decisions when talking about the attractiveness of custom target date strategies, control of the glide path, control of the inclusion of various investment managers. Plan sponsors spend so much time selecting the investment options that go into the core, it really wouldn't make a lot of sense to include packaged target date funds that don't make use of any of the investments, the best-in-class investments that they've selected as part of the core. Also having the ability to control decisions around asset classes and the ability to include asset classes that are less traditional in nature and they're frequently not included as part of a lot of the packaged products. Sponsors have the ability to control those decisions as well. They have the ability to add global tactical asset allocation, high yield, tips, emerging markets, and these are not hedge funds or private equity. It's a broader series of diversifying asset classes, and again, having control of those decisions can provide the best investment choice for participants.
So in looking at investment flexibility, why do plan sponsors find custom strategies attractive?
Well, I think they find custom strategies attractive for a variety of reasons. The first and foremost being able to diversify among different underlying investment managers, and then I think secondly, but probably even more importantly, being able to develop a glide path with additional asset classes that are a bit more appropriate than what you'd find perhaps off a typical off-the-shelf type of target retirement date fund. The target retirement date funds off-the-shelf version are typically very concentrated into what I call the big four asset classes: cash, investment grade U.S., U.S. equities, and global equities. So among that, all four of those categories right off the bat are four that typically do not do very well in periods of unanticipated inflation. So a lot of the rationale for adding additional asset classes are adding things like commodity futures or inflation protection above and beyond what you find within a typical off-the-shelf glide path.
So as we look at defined contribution plans, we've seen more plans move toward custom strategies. In your opinion, do custom strategies make sense?
For certain plans, it definitely can if they're able to implement it. There's two main reasons why you'd want to do custom strategies. One is because you want control of the underlying investments. You want to be able to pick best-of-breed managers for each asset class. You want to decide what asset classes go into the target date funds. You want to decide your own mix of passive versus active based on your preferences and what you think is right for your plan. The other reason you want to go custom is because maybe your plan demographics have something unique about them that require a different glide path than other target date funds that you can find off the shelf. So for example, maybe it's a defined benefit plan you have, maybe it's something unique about your population, maybe it's your match formula, something about your plan that requires you to have a different slope in your glide path than other plans.
Mm-hmm. And Josh, do you think plans differ demographically at a level where it makes sense to have unique glide paths?
Some plans do, some plans don't. It's probably always good to go through the exercise to see if your plan truly is unique. A lot of times I've gone through the exercise and it turns out most plans are, especially when you're talking about large plan sponsors who have diverse populations, typically a standard glide path probably is good enough for a lot of plans. But there's certainly, we come across plans where they do have something unique about their plan where they require a different glide path.
So why are custom strategies attractive from a communication perspective?
They're attractive from a communication perspective because the message can be tailored directly to that participant. And so whether that's in the graphics that are used or the data that's displayed, the client can really talk about their strategy and the message they're trying to get across in explaining a target date fund to their participants. So in addition to fee and performance and even risk information, the overlying strategy, whether that's in a written format or in a graphical presentation, is all up to customization.